Hey y'all, this is Denise Hernandez, and I'm here again with the Down Market for Community Matters. Today I'm here with Aaron Peña. Would you say hospitality extraordinaire?
Professional. Whatever.
Professional
Yeah,
hospitality extraordinaire, a small business owner, and I would like to say D1 Hellraiser. I will say it.
Cheers.
So
good to be with y'all.
we'll say that. So thank you for joining us, Aaron. Do you want to say a little bit about yourself, about your background?
Yeah, thank y'all for having me. It's good to be with y'all. I guess my background starts, I'm born and raised from San Antonio, from the south side. 35 currently. I own a few bars here in town. The oldest being the Squeeze Box. It's on North St. Mary's. Yeah, we've been there a couple times. That one's 7 years old. My latest bar is Amor Eterno. It's a cocktail bar. We're in Southtown, right behind Bar America. And I'm working on my third one currently. It's TBD, but it's the location's there, but I can't really talk too much about it yet.
Okay, so do you know around the time it's going to open so people can look forward to it?
Yeah, the best case scenario is in this lifetime.
Okay.
Worst case, never, but hopefully by Fiesta. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see. So I just wanted to talk to you more. I think I was talking with, Jalen before, and he comes from a different perspective where he moved around a lot. But I feel like you and I, we've lived here our whole lives for an extent. If we went away for a little bit, we did. But, born and raised, South Side, and then West Side. I just want, if you can, share what that means to you and what that looks like in your life every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's special. I've definitely been able to get away, and I think every time I've gotten away through traveling and seeing what other cities have to offer, it's made me more appreciative of home. And home to me is everything, right? It's the culture, it's the food, it's the music, it's the people. It's being able to go to a Spurs game and see 94 of my friends.
Yeah.
So in my everyday life, it's special because my spaces are meant to cater to that part of the community that I'm from.
Right.
And, I don't take it for granted. It's cool.
Right. Yeah. And I remember when Squeezebox opened, it was, at that time, I know people think of the Strip now as one thing, but we remember it as a completely different thing,
Totally
right?
different.
Totally different. And
Yeah, we're old.
yeah, we are. And at that time, it was meant to bring a different vibe of conjunto tejano jazz culture with cocktails, and I think that hadn't been done yet.
It hadn't.
So it was a really cool space. I barely remember the opening of that.
You were there.
I was there.
We
but
were all very sweaty. I remember that.
Yeah, we were very sweaty.
Yeah, the AC broke and the fridge broke and everything that can go wrong went wrong. But
yeah, there's pictures of that somewhere.
there is in the archives. A lot of our old flyers from our first year, because we came out doing so much of that music, are actually featured at UTSA and in the archives. Yeah,
That's cool.
I think it might be in the Mexican American Studies archives or
That's
something.
cool.
But talking about conjunto music and the West Side Sound, all that stuff we were doing is archived.
Yeah, I remember going and it was is Flaco gonna show up? Is he gonna show up drunk?
Yeah.
And then it was always up or down, and he usually showed up.
He showed up.
Yeah.
He was just late. He was drinking in the
Yeah,
parking
he was
lot.
late,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that guy's a trip.
He's
God
cool.
bless him. And his brother Santiago, he was there
That's
for us.
right.
Grand opening night.
Cool.
We've had so many legends. It was a special time. So if and when it ends, I'll be content knowing that we had a big kind of footprint in those early days.
We'll talk about why would it end? Why would it end?
It would end, forcefully. Construction's been going on for 2 years, 2.5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And, parking's been a nightmare. A lot of turmoil with the neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. It's just one thing after the other. So, we're at a point right now where we don't know what the next year looks like. So, if it does end like this, I'll be happy still because I'm proud of what we did.
Right.
But if we continue to go, which we're in control of, we'll be able to decide, whether we're going to continue to go for another 2 or 5 years.
Right.
It's just right now, because of construction and all the problems, it's been, kind of disheartening.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you were very vocal in advocating for the other businesses. We know some other folks who own bars there are more
Of course.
I'm going to hang back a little, even though they feel as passionately. So I think a lot of people appreciated you standing up and fighting for the small businesses. I think for a lot of folks who either have worked there or gone to the bars for so long, I feel like I grew up there. I feel like a lot of my life was centered around the Strip in so many ways that even when I did work at District 1, it was okay, I've played here, I've lived here, I've worked here.
Bartended here.
Yeah, I bartended here, and now I work here in District 1, and this is pre whoever's in there now, right? So it was I felt like I had a different perspective on it, that I could be yeah, here in the neighborhood, but these are my friends, that own these places and work here, and I think I wouldn't have survived if I didn't bartend, to be honest with you. I really wouldn't have. That extra income and the community really meant so much to me and who I am. So like, how does this culture, like, how does it feel if we're seeing the culture shift, but also, I know I was talking about this before, it's commodified without us, right? Like, they want our culture, and then they kick us to the curb. Like, how have you experienced that?
I mean, we see it now. I mean, the past 2 years, it's been like so deliberate in the optics of like nonstop construction being on my doorstep, and like seeing it every day firsthand, and seeing that, you know, the neighbors at every meeting tell us like, we're trying to shut you down. We don't want you there. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we have a right to do business like anybody else. We operate legally within our license, within our rights. So, and I'm always trying to be a good neighbor.
Yeah.
I have neighbors who call me directly, who complain, and we've established good relationships. But I feel like because I was so vocal about all these problems that it's kind of public enemy number one. A lot of, you know,
oh no,
which I'm happy to be. I'm fine with that. It's just that, you know, I have issue with these other businesses taking the brunt and the blame, and, you know, suffering. We're all suffering.
Right.
It hasn't been a good 2 years for anybody. And then that's coming out of COVID. So it's just like
right.
one blow after the other. So,
Right.
but, you know, like I said, I hear the neighbors, I hear the issues, but, you know, me and you know that place has been that way for 40, 50 years.
Right.
And it's not going to change. If I leave, somebody else comes in. All those establishments, all those properties are zoned commercially to hold liquor licenses. And that's exactly what they're going to do.
The grandfather did.
Yeah, nobody's going to come in there and say, okay, look, this place was the squeeze box for 8 years. Let me put like a retail shop and we'll sell high-end clothing.
Gucci shoes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, these places are designed to be bars, restaurants, eateries, you know. So it's been really tough. You know, I don't really think I realized initially how impassioned I was about it until I was like already like in it, you know. And so like going to those meetings and talking and hearing the neighbors, but also like, you know, just not afraid to say that this is how gentrification starts.
Right.
And I'm not going to be the first or the last person to experience that here.
Right.
And
That's
we're seeing it.
That's definitely true. And I think you're a good example too of someone like you wanted to get into business like for your livelihood, and like it's fun, right? And it's a great space where you wanted to create an experience for people. And then it's like, oh shit, I find myself like engaged politically, and I didn't expect that. Like, what has that journey been for you?
It's been a trip. So 2 nights ago, I mean, this happens a lot. Like, I'll be out somewhere and people will come up to me and talk to me and tell me thank you for like advocating because they work in the service industry or they're bartenders or bar backs or whatever. It's the same industry to me. Yeah. That's how I got into this thing. And that's crazy. Like, I'm so blown back by that. I'm just like, you know, it's not what I thought I was doing. Because let's be honest, selfishly, what I was doing was defending my business, my livelihood, my staff's income. But then it becomes bigger than me. It becomes like a whole community's livelihood. Right. So it's cool. It's still a trip. I still trip out about it. Like, you know, people come up and we talk and have a shot about it. And it's like not something that I was intending to do. Right. But now I feel proud of that. You know, I'm like, let's keep it up. Like, you know, the fight doesn't stop with me.
Yeah. It's cool to defend like our hometown. And when I was talking previously, it was I asked Jalen, like, well, what do you see the future of San Antonio looking like, and how does D2 play into that future, right? And I think I was explaining, like, I know a lot of folks move here, and that's great, and I love it, and I appreciate it, but it's like my family's 5 generations deep here. Like, there's history here that my family was a part of. We built this. My grandfather went to high school over here. You know, like, there's so much history for us that's deeper than just, oh, we go to Fiesta for 2 weeks, right? So it's something, we can't explain it. It's just kind of something more personal. And I know when you were in the middle of it, people were asking you to run for District 1, and you considered it?
I did for a second.
Okay. Yeah. And what happened?
It's just, I mean, look, that job is for somebody who's needs to be devoted and have the time, have the energy, and really care and give a shit about the community. And not to say that I'm not, but I lose a couple of those boxes when it comes to time and especially energy. Like, I'm trying to run multiple businesses and concepts and employ dozens of people that need my emotional faculty to give to them. Right. So I'm not the right person. And I knew pretty quick. It started happening when people were coming up to me and talking about it. And I was like, oof, like my privacy is going to be gone. I'm pretty private. You know, I know that a lot of my life is kind of on Front Street, but you know, like a lot of my happiness comes from just stepping away and being quiet and like examining things. So I knew it wasn't for me, but I mean, my hat off to anybody who enters that spectrum of the world. Yeah. I think it's important work and I understand it. It's just for me at this moment, I can't do it.
Yeah, I hear that. So I did want to ask you, we didn't talk about this previously, but I saw you hosted one of the candidates at your bar, and I'm sure other candidates had tried to approach you and kind of gain your favor in
Sure.
this race. So why did you allow, what's his name, Jeremy?
Jeremy Roberts, yeah.
Why did you allow him? Do you feel inclined to support him?
No, that wasn't an endorsement. You know,
Okay.
I feel inclined to hear everybody out.
Cool.
So, you know,
Okay.
what I want to do and my goal in all this is to, if you want, reach out, I'll host you. I'll bring a community together to host you and to hear you out because I have that network.
Right.
There's a lot of neighbors that I've met through this and like D1 residents who are like super passionate about keeping the bars there.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because you wouldn't,
Right.
you know, you wouldn't kind of assume that there is, but there is.
Yeah.
So I want to have a platform, and we have the spaces already to like have these candidates come and use my stage. We'll hear you out, and if you're the right candidate, then we'll endorse you and then we'll support you. So
For sure.
it's an open invite. I've already, you know, like we talked about. I've entertained the idea of I might butcher her name, Dr. Carr, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she reached out last week. I told her she's more than welcome to, you know, have the platform, and
Yeah.
we'll hear you out.
See what she got.
Yeah, we'll hear you out. And if, you know, because elections are on May 6th, so we have some time and we got to put our stamp down if we're going to put our stamp down.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would like to be able to get behind somebody who's going to do the right thing and
Right.
be a great candidate.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Yeah, I got redistricted into District 1. I was
Oh,
in
yeah.
District 9, and then I was like, oh, we were two blocks away from District 1, and then when redistricting happened, I was like, oh, great. And I remember saying, like, oh, if I get redistricted in, I will run for District 1, and I was just talking shit, and then, like, it happened, and I was like,
happened,
okay,
yeah.
no, I'm not going to run for sure.
I remember that.
Yeah. And, but now I feel like I felt like I have skin in the game again, right? Like, this is my home. I think so many people are turning to y'all on the Strip, especially folks like me who we grew up there, right? Like, that's, and I think people misunderstand, like, it's not just bars. Like, it's really a place for art and community. We had so many fundraisers there and supported so many
it's a
people.
communal space.
It's been a beautiful, wild experience.
Sure.
So I think people are turning to y'all to see like what's happening in this District 1 race and how do these business owners feel about this.
Yeah.
And it is going to be telling because, you know, May 6th is happening, whoever gets elected. And then we still have to discuss the parking. You know, once the bond project is done, it's done. But then what happens after, right?
Yeah, that's what we're worried about.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that? Like, how do you envision, like, what do you think is going to happen? I guess?
mean, if it stays the same and we stay with the current incumbent who's in there right now, it's going to be, he's going to curry favor to the neighbors and give them whatever the hell they want. So that'll be a parking situation that kills the small businesses.
Yeah.
And he could say whatever he wants about it, but that's what we feel.
Okay.
So I feel like the business community is a very strong stamp to put behind any candidate because we are the ones who are, you know, and I had this discussion with the neighbor, you know, during that town hall thing where I was like, you know, obviously, and I've kind of came out and said, that's not normally how I am. That's just how I had to be. So we talked about it in private and she's like, well, you know, you're not a part of this community. And I was like,
Ooh.
I've been here for 8 years, like in business. So yeah. So a lot of that kind of miscommunication. And, you know, I think that if it comes to, you know, the May 6th election and we stay what we're currently dealing with in office, then that parking permit's going to be passed and, or the proposal, whatever. And you're going to see a totally different situation down there where you can't access it as a patron, as a business, as a, you know,
Right.
employee.
Yeah, I
So,
know that parking sucks.
Yeah, it's crazy. And especially right now, we've seen that with construction.
Yeah,
It's just how do you even get down there? How do you navigate?
Yeah.
It's been extra tough.
No, it's terrifying. I mean, fully honest, like we were down there a couple weeks ago, and I think we traveled from El Ojo down to Squeezebox. Yeah, we went to Squeezebox to see Isaac, and I was like, wow, someone could really fall in here. Like, I'm surprised. Like, knock on wood, like nobody's really hurt themselves.
Yeah, no,
like
I mean,
it's
crazy.
wild.
It's been so negligent. I've literally taken so many photos and videos, and like the fact that it's totally non-ADA compliant is another argument.
That's the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't get it, but I mean, we obviously get it because we've been dealing with it.
You've been dealing with it. Yeah. So besides that, you have other spaces, right? I know you're opening that third one, I guess now, right? Why did you choose Southtown? Like, just you like it or?
serendipitous. That was my first bartending job was in Southtown.
Oh, cool.
So I picked up
Okay.
trash at the Friendly Spot for 2 years. Then they let me beer tend, and then like Alamo Street Bar, I was there for like a year.
Yeah, I
And
miss
took
that
off.
place.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Took off for the Brooklynite. So like full circle moment when Amor Eterno started
Yeah.
was because I was going to Bar America when I was a kid. And
Okay.
got to know the old man. I got to know his grandson, Brian Correa, who's my business partner.
Oh, cool.
That just like small world serendipitously happened.
Yeah.
So kind of the same situation happened with the third one. serendipitous. You know, you never know who you're talking to. I was talking to these guys for a year. They're always at Elmwood, always hanging out, and we would shoot the shit, have a shot. And then I go to their spot a year later, and I'm like, these guys are working really hard. I'm like, I wonder if, it makes sense. It's their bar. So then we like linked up, and now we're opening our next project together.
Cool.
So, Southtown's popping too. It's like,
it is.
Yeah, we've like really seen it grow in the past 2 years.
For sure. I remember, I was a little sleepier, and they had like, Bar America and some other spots. And then
it's back. It's popping.
Yeah, and it kind of, because it was like I remember going to First Friday in high school, and it's like you could walk around with beer and wine and stuff.
Yeah.
And then like they stopped doing that, so it kind of died back. And then, it feels similar to how, I guess, engaging it was then. So that's really exciting. This is a good question, and I think this is cool because I think people don't understand what it is to be a bartender. Like, I don't think they understand the performance of it. Like, I remember every time I'd go back there, I would like dress up, and I was like, I'm performing for people, whether
that's crazy.
So like, do you feel similarly? How does it feel for you? Like bartend, like what does it mean to you?
As a bartender?
Yeah.
As a career bartender, let's put the bars aside. Like, I still consider myself just a bartender. Yeah. And somebody who's like just really good at cleaning toilets, and that's how this that's how this all happened.
Skill. Yeah.
So as a bartender, to me, I always took a lot of pride on like the hosting duty, like knowing my guest's name, knowing their drink, making sure it smells good, making sure it feels good. Like everything had to be perfect. So yeah, to me, it wasn't just like putting liquid in a cup. It was like a whole thing, a whole checklist of like vibes and emotions.
Right.
Yeah, so I love it. I still love it.
Yeah.
I did it pretty recently for the first time in a while.
Really? How long had it been?
It was like a year at least.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's no room for me at my bars. My staff.
That's fair.
Yeah, they need to eat, so I was like, I can't bartend anymore.
Yeah.
So, but I did it during the freeze a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah, do you want to do it again?
I love it. I miss it. Yeah, to me, it's just fun. It hurts my body though. I'm not as good as
I used to. Yeah, definitely understand that. Yeah, I miss it. I like making things with my hands. I feel like because my day job, I use my brain so much that I'm just talking and thinking and writing and whatever. And then it's like I can just sit down and make something delicious and enjoy making someone else happy.
Yeah, it's like immediate gratification.
Yeah,
I like here's this thing I made you, and they're like, oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah,
and you're like, I feel like a human being.
Yeah, I did something worthwhile.
Yeah, I love it.
So how did you get into like this life? Because were you always a bartender?
I spent a lot of time at bars.
Well,
but I wasn't a bartender.
Okay.
It just happened serendipitously and by like necessity. I quit my job that I hated. I was working in insurance, like telemarketing job or something.
Oh God, yeah.
It was the worst, and I just
like
didn't
hell.
go back. Yeah, I was like at lunch, didn't go back. Go to the friendly spot, same day. Pull up. They're like, "Hey, Mr. Peña, how was work?" And I was like, "About that, I quit." They're like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" And I was like, "I'm kind of hoping you guys are hiring." So they brought me on and picked up trash so well.
Wow.
10 years later, I get to pick up my own
Another
trash.
good skill.
Yeah, picking up trash, cleaning toilets.
There you go.
There's no shortcuts.
There's no shortcuts. That's awesome. So how long did it take for you to go from the friendly spot to opening Squeezebox?
Like 4.5 years, maybe. 5,
oh, wow.
Like 3, 4, something like that. I think I started at Friendly Spot at 2012, 13, and then we opened Squeezebox in 2016.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What a time.
The best times. Yeah. The best times.
Those were good times. Yeah. Thinking back on it. Wow. Okay. So how do you envision your new space, like, helping the Southtown area grow? Because, like, Amor has a lot of traffic, and it's popular, and people love going there and doing all of that. So how is this space going to expand that?
So I think it's going to make this cool trifecta of, pedestrian traffic from a certain space that I teamed up with down the street, hopping down the street to the new space, and then being able to go to Amor and just kind of making that walkable.
Yeah,
and the cool thing is we're going to have late night food. So
awesome.
anytime you have late night food, it's like...
Yeah, people are there.
People are there. And I need to be there because, nobody has... Bar Loretta has food till 1 a.m, but aside from them, there's not a lot of like late night options.
So is the thought to make this area like a different kind of strip, or?
It's a strip already.
Yeah.
Like, it's walkable. Yeah. There's bars, there's restaurants. It's just that the clientele that this kind of caters to is a little bit like older, mid-30s, not older, but like,
Yeah, we're not old. Okay.
Yeah, but like past your 20s, like early 30s and beyond. And then there's a lot of service industry in that area. So like, catering to the service industry, you're just getting out of work downtown, or in Southtown, like having them
Oh, that's a
have
cool.
a spot to go to.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That just makes sense. I think, yeah, past days of like 50 Cent Wells, which Jalen and I were talking about
Sure.
and reminiscing on that, which was fun.
At the time, it was fun because, you know, the hangovers were like less.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can't survive now anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so is there anything else like you're excited about to do in District 1? Do you want to expand beyond this area?
Yeah, I mean, so I definitely think that it's going to inevitably happen to where I have something that's in another part of town, or
sure.
the main goal for me would be another city.
Ooh.
So, yeah, so I've kind of check swinged Houston a couple times.
Okay.
I think that's the first Texas destination I would go to.
Yeah.
But for me, it's always about getting back to New Orleans.
Yeah, I was going to say New Orleans next after
New
that.
Orleans is my second home, so
Yeah.
I think that serendipitously something's going to land there where I have a little spot.
Did you know, too, I remember I went to New Orleans, and it was the same year that we were celebrating our 300th.
Yeah,
like,
same tricentennial.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
wild. I was like, oh, we have so many sister energy.
It's
there.
the parallel. It's
yeah,
super
it's
parallel.
very weird. It's
Yeah.
very, like, we have the old, and then we have the new, and then we have the conversation around gentrification.
And the conversation around like music, food, culture,
Music,
nightlife.
food, and how people there are being, again, used. Like, you can commodify New Orleans, right? I think we're seeing it in Mardi Gras right now. I think there was a
easy.
picture on Twitter, and it was like, what's missing from this picture? And it was like, there was like one black person in the whole
Sure.
thing. And it was like, okay, yeah. And I imagined it the same with Fiesta, right? Like,
I mean, there's that
one Mexican
conversation.
person, one authentic, I guess.
I don't
know.
think there's any Mexican people in the Fiesta Royal
Yeah,
Court.
no. Ray failed, but then what does that
That's
say
a whole
about
conversation for another day, though. It's
the
like, you know,
ugly
having,
king?
like,
Yeah.
the whole Fiesta thing. I know you kind of feel the same way.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I've never been a Fiesta person, so.
I have fond memories of it as a kid, like being in the floats and the parades. Like, I was a band kid, so I remember all of that, and it was just fun to be a part of. But then when you examine like what you're celebrating and why, it's very hurtful.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, what's your favorite thing about being a San Antonian? I think that's a good question.
That is a loaded question. I mean, honestly, the Spurs.
Yeah.
I'm a religious Spurs fan.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a like fond memory in my life of like the
We
championship.
lived through the best part of it, though.
Literally, like that'll never happen again.
Yeah,
It was just
no,
like
it will
nonstop winning, partying. It was amazing. The Spurs are probably my favorite part about San Antonio.
Hell
Even
yeah.
though it's like super cliche answer.
It is a little, but I get it. I
No,
totally
that's
get
like
it.
my thing though. Like I'm still
No.
like a diehard Spurs fan.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's a
When-
little different. And that's why I feel sad for some folks, because I'm like, you weren't a child.
You didn't get it.
And then you didn't experience like the 3 and all the championships. And it was cool, like as a child going honking, and then a teenager, and then an adult,
like running on
right?
the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a wild time. Do you think we'll ever see that again?
I mean, naturally I want to say yeah, but
Yeah.
probably not.
Yeah. Let's be
Kind
realistic.
of terrible right now, but I'm still here for it. Like it's a young crew. So
We support the team. That's
yeah,
for
for
sure.
I
That's
see
for
Coach
sure.
all the time, so I still got to tip my hat to the guy.
You know, I think I would cry if I met him.
He's honestly the sweetest man you'll ever meet. He's
I believe
so,
that.
So cool.
I believe
I've
that.
had 3 or 4 good moments with him for like 5 to 7 minutes where I'm just like
Wow.
wanting to cry and shit.
Wow. Okay, I might have to check in with that and be like, hey, Erin, is Pop there? Because let me know. Because I need
Yeah,
to.
I would tell you guys where he hangs out after the games, but I'll just
Swoop
tell
in.
you in private.
Okay, we'll do that after. Not on the podcast. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. So beyond that, I mean, so you do the Fajita Lounge, what, on Sundays?
Oh yeah, the Fight the
How did
Lounge.
that start?
Oh man, it's one of those stupid ideas that just took off.
A stupid idea.
Yeah, so how it happened.
Fajitas aren't stupid, though.
No, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
But like how it happened was stupid.
Okay.
So we were having a crawfish boil. So every Sunday during like the good weather months, like spring or summer, we try to have like free food events.
Cool.
Because that brings people together.
Oh, hell yeah.
And when they're together, they drink. So it's win-win, right? So, you know, for the bar on the business side, if we spend a few $100 on food and the bar makes money, win-win.
Win-win, yeah.
So we had a crawfish boil one day, and I was there hanging out, and the crawfish always goes really quick. So it was me, my boy Duran Jones, Chef Jake Gonzalez, my family, and we were all behind the gate at Squeezebox at like 9 p.m. Sun was down, you know, like 15 of us just hanging out. So I was like, I knew the crawfish was going to run out really quick, so I bought a bunch of fajitas. So it was like employees only kind of thing. So we're making fajitas, and like the smell was going up. People kept coming back behind the gate, like trying to see what's going on. And I kept telling them, I was like, sorry, like it's staff only. It's the Fajita Lounge.
Yeah.
And then we were like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we're laughing. And it's like, it just became this stupid thing. And then we started doing it on Sundays.
That's
and then
cool.
it became like a brand. And then I realized that it was just like my Tejano dreams.
Hell yeah.
Like I started, I branded
Cooking
it.
fajitas.
Yeah, I branded it like
Yeah.
that. I was doing nothing but like I have a Fajita Lounge playlist, which is all Tejano.
Hell yeah.
So it was just like the deals, like just getting in the backyard and like
the
drinking beer.
vibes.
Yeah, and it was like a thing, and it caught on.
Almost see the fireflies again.
Yeah, and
Almost.
we did the Taco Rumble, and like it just became a thing.
That's cool.
Now we do pop-ups. We're going to
Yeah.
Memphis in a couple months.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Really?
It's on the road. It's on the road.
Whoa!
World tour.
Wow. And you know, I think that is I sometimes it kind of, I don't know if this happens to you, but it kind of blows my mind sometimes that it's like things so quintessentially like San Antonian are picked up like, oh my God, this is a discovery of like, wow, this is culture. And I'm like, yeah, it is, but it's so much of who we are that it doesn't even like.
Because we just have those memories of like.
Think that way.
Yeah, we're like, oh, in the backyard now.
Yeah,
like,
it's just fajitas.
It's normal.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a cool way to say like how, especially I think like working class Mexican Americans, like they say fajitas were like the throwaway meat.
It was.
Like they gave the poor people that shit.
Yeah. It was like you didn't even want it.
And we turned it into something so delicious.
It's gourmet.
And amazing. And I love fajitas. Yeah, that's dope. That's really cool.
Yeah, we started, I guess, last summer, and it just became a thing. So now we do it every time we can.
Every week? Wow.
But it's really expensive.
Even with the inflation of beef.
Fajita's crazy right now. I've been trying to bully HEB. I like bully
Yeah,
HEB, trying to sponsor us.
Yeah.
So I talked to somebody recently.
Okay.
Won't mention any names.
Okay.
A couple people who were pretty in there in HEB, and they were like, okay, let's talk about it. So
Absolutely. Make it a commercial.
We did the Fajita Lounge Showdown. Did you hear about that one?
I did not.
Labor Day weekend, the Fajita Lounge Showdown. We had a whole competition. It was like 12 chefs.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Who won?
Chef Stephen Lopez, my good friend, Chef Stephen Lopez.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we had.
What did he do differently that he won?
Oh man, he had like some crazy house
marinade
stuff. Yeah, his marinade was crazy. I think it was almost like Asian inspired.
Interesting.
Really good though. So we actually had Terry Castillo.
Cool.
Was with she was a judge. Myself was a judge, and it was a good time. Yeah, we were fun.
I love it. That's very cool. So do you see it going more on the road, like beyond Memphis? No, that's wild.
Yeah, Memphis and New Orleans are the next stops.
Okay.
So I want to go there. I want to go to barbecue towns.
Yeah, that's smart.
And just be like, look, this is what we do in Texas.
It's a whole different thing. Yeah. Whole different culture. That's like, really dope.
This is the honey music. This is what we do. This is what we grill to. We drink this, like.
Do you ever get the feeling like I meet other people from other places and I'm like, this is just so, again, inherent to who I am, that to explain it to other people, I'm like, oh yeah, you can't get it until you experience it. And then they experience it and they're like, oh my God, I could live here. I love it. And that's what gets people to San Antonio, right?
For sure.
Like, I think we see that so much. I know sharing like the Hano music, people are like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. And I'm like, you don't get it. Like, you don't remember riding with your mom and you're sweating in the back seat and, like all that good stuff.
But they do get it in that sense of like that moment where like if we're
together
somewhere and like you have people twirling under a disco ball and people are tight and sweaty. Yeah. And they're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, it just kind of resonates.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So you mentioned Duran Jones. I know he just came out with an album. Now this is turning into a music podcast, but he's incredible.
Not out yet, though.
Not out yet?
May 5th.
Did he just do that one song then?
So that was his first single off the new album.
Okay.
May 5th, his new album comes out. It's called Wait Till I Get Over. We've been talking about it for a year. I'm super stoked for him.
Good for him.
Great friend of mine. One of the most kind, humble people you've ever met in your life. Super sweet. And we've been friends now for about 6 years.
He lives here now, right?
He's been here for 2 years. Yeah.
Okay.
We claim him now.
Okay, he's a San Antonian.
Yeah, he was from Louisiana, so it's not too far.
Okay, so do y'all bond over that mutual?
For sure.
Okay.
We've been in New Orleans a bunch together, and
I bet that's fun with him.
Oh yeah, he's got like his own little tour, Yeah, he did a commercial with Southwest Airlines, and I was there. I was there with him, and I was like on the commercial, and we're just like eating good shit and.
For Southwest Airlines.
Southwest Airlines, straight up. So like when you're in the flight and like the little in-flight, like like come to New Orleans, like kind of that thing. But
shit.
Duran Jones.
I need to see that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Very cool of him. What's next for him? He's just going to release his album? Is he going to tour by himself?
He's on tour in the next few months, like doing the solo stuff. He's doing Jazz Fest for the first time this year, which is like...
Here?
No, in New Orleans.
Oh, in New Orleans.
So for somebody who's like from... he's born in New Orleans.
Yeah.
That's like a big
That's special,
deal.
yeah.
Yeah, he's super stoked. I'm so proud of him.
Good for him.
Yeah, so we'll be there. We'll be at Jazz Fest, and then he's got a little solo tour, and that's my boy. I got to support him.
Good for him.
Actually, everything I do, he's been... there.
Yeah.
Amore opening night, like we took him to the new place, gave him a tour. Like that's my guy, so I'm so proud of him.
That's good. That's awesome. That's a cool friend to have. So what's next for? I ask this question. I think I'm gonna ask it every time. Like, what do you envision your businesses playing into the future of San Antonio, and what does the future of San Antonio look like?
So, I guess the first part would be my businesses. I hope can stay rooted in the tradition. The culture of like old San Antonio. And having that space to showcase that, to tell people like maybe it's like that anymore, but like this is the way it was.
Yeah.
And like this music, from the West Side, and these garage bands from the 50s and 60s, the Royal Jesters, Sonny Ozuna from the South Side, like showcasing that in my spaces and having people realize that like it might be going somewhere totally 360 and exploding to this major city. And I mean, it's what, 7th largest city in the nation, but it's still hard for me to come to grasp with, because I'm like, that shouldn't be like that,
Yeah. It makes me sad.
Yeah, those are growing pains. I think the next decade's going to be growing pains for San Antonio.
Yeah.
We're going to see a lot of people pushed out, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But that's gentrification. That's where we're at. And we're in this time where, population's exploding, development's everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think you got to stay rooted and have like, an idea of why you love it.
Right. And where we go with that.
Sure.
That culture, I think, is so huge, and it does scare me. Sometimes I think I was feeling really, just like a personal feeling, I was feeling very disenchanted with being here. And I was like, at this point, it's just another city. Like, I feel sometimes I'm a tourist in my own city. Like, if I go travel, I'm like, oh, there's something so new, and this is a different culture and different food. And sometimes when I come out, I feel like, especially post-COVID, it feels like I'm in a whole different place. Like, this isn't my city.
No, I feel that.
And there's just like a weird like eeriness to that. And then like that Sonny Ozuna show at the Lighthouse, I was like, oh, amazing. Okay, the heart, it's still here somewhere. Like it's still here.
My mom and dad were there. It was amazing.
Yeah. I originally wanted to take my grandma, and she bailed on me, but whatever.
Just like being
That's
able
fine.
to share that with them and like have them see that like this is still here, even though they know.
And loved and cherished and respected.
Celebrated.
Yeah.
So nuts.
And it brings joy to so many people. I'm glad. I think he saw that too, and performers perform. So
he gets it. Yeah. So he's, I mean, not to take the credit, but we had him first at Squeezebox for the 6-year anniversary. So talking to him before and seeing how like elated he was and like so thrilled, he's like, he said like the coolest shit to me. Then he said, we're in the back in the garage talking, and I'm pedo. It's my anniversary. I'm like having a good time.
Okay.
So we're talking, and he's like, mijo, all these people since Big Crown put me on their records, which is this, Brooklyn, New York record label.
Yeah.
He's like, mijo, all these people know my songs.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know, Sonny. Like, you're a big deal, man.
You are
like,
a big deal, man. Yeah.
He's like, but he was like so like
blown away
by it. He's like, mijo. Like, and I was like, oh, dude, it was.
That's so sweet.
I was back there with a little bit of waterworks, so it's just cool. Like, and then I DJ'd for him again at the Lighthouse, me and Sonny Boy. And just like being able, because I know he still gets a thrill out of it.
Yeah. He turns on.
Oh, he loves it.
Yeah.
So, I'm just happy we still have that.
Yeah. There's something, the other day I was out with my friend, or I was working, so I think I was bartending something, an event, a private event, and I heard this guy, and he answered the phone, Monday. And I was like,
yeah.
I haven't heard that in so long.
For sure.
And it made me so sad that like, and then I get joy, as sad as it is sometimes. It just feels like being in a desert sometimes, like thirsting for my culture, my people, and maybe it's just I'm not going out enough, but we'll get people. That. Yeah, we get people. We get people at public comment, and they have, I call it the San Anto accent. It's like my grandparents.
Sure.
Right? And it's so I don't know. It feels like a warm blanket.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
Yeah, I miss.
Like the Monday thing. You're like,
Monday, yeah.
I'm like,
Monday.
Oh man, like I'm at Rosie's Cafe in the South Side right now. Like,
where you at?
It feels good.
It does feel good. What's so special about the South Side? Tell people. Well, don't tell them too much because we don't want them to go over there.
Yeah, don't move down there. It's still crazy dangerous.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
Again, for the rent.
Yeah, no, I love the South Side because it's always like, especially what I've learned as an adult, like having somewhere I can go that's still home. But like, not only that, the people in the South Side have always been like the hardest working, so supportive. Like I went to the same high school as Emilio Nevaira.
Hell yeah.
So the Hano legacy's there. I won't talk about the other chick who I went to high school with who killed somebody very important.
Oh no.
Yeah, she went to that same school.
Did she really?
She did.
That's very wild energy between Emilio and.
Tell me about it.
They
knew each other, so it's weird.
What?
I mean, Emilio knew Selena.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I have a concert from them. A poster.
Like, get past that. But like to me, the South Side is just like this little community of like hardworking, old school, like tradition.
For sure.
That never changed. So I remember driving down like South Florida with my dad, seeing all these old school like little ice houses, and then now I drive by and maybe they're like vacant now, but it feels the same.
Yeah.
So I love the hood. That's my spot.
Yeah, I love the South Side hasn't changed that much, and I'm grateful. I like driving by and feels safer than other parts of town. I'll say
It is
for sure.
People
Like,
forget about that. It's like,
don't go to Stone Oak.
yeah, right. Like we've never had any problems. My parents, I mean, the house that I grew up in is still my parents' house.
Oh, cool.
So there's never any problems down there.
No, never.
You know, it's so like old neighbors and people who've been there for their whole lives.
And there's something to say about, I think we see this in D2 now that I miss so much, and I saw it in like the west side of D1 where folks look out for each other.
Yeah.
Like neighbors really are still neighbors.
For sure. Like watch the block.
So talk to each other. Hey, I got a lawnmower here. Take it. Like,
Yeah.
I'll take your kid to school. You
Saw
got a
somebody
doctor's
in front of your
appointment
house today or something.
Literally, I mean,
Yeah.
the cheese man is there too, but like,
Yeah.
it's a genuine love that I think, again, we're missing in certain communities.
I get that. I'm in D2 now, so.
Well, you see it. So
Yeah.
gentrification is changing things. But okay. I mean, I think we had a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming. He's dissed all other podcasts, but not ours. So we're putting that on the record.
For sure. Thank you.
So thank you, Aaron, so much for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate all you do, keeping the culture alive. Cannot go understated, especially for folks like me and us, where, you know, we got to live it to be it and kind of hold the line, I guess.
For sure.
Is
Thank
what
you,
it
Denise.
is.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So we want to thank Aaron for being here today. Again, he has dissed other podcasts, but not ours. So to follow him and maybe go to a fajita lounge, I don't know why you wouldn't. Follow him on Twitter at El Gallo Negro 13 or Clean Guayabera. If you don't know how to spell that, then you can't follow him. We're gatekeeping it. So that's what it is. Yeah, so thank you for tuning in. And also check out his businesses. I don't know if you've ever been to Squeezebox. It's a great time. Amor is also a great time with great cocktails. There's always good DJs, good music, good vibes going on. But don't gentrify our spaces either, so I'm gonna say that. Okay.
True.